The biggest college basketball game of last week was a showdown between a pair of top 5 teams in the ACC in Virginia and Duke, with the Blue Devils coming away with the victory, handing Tony Bennett's club their first loss of the season. A game that was sure to have an effect on the latest edition of Joe Lunardi's Bracketology. We'll bring in Joe in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at his number 1 seeds. And no doubt about it, Kentucky at 22-0 remains the top team. Virginia, with that win over North Carolina, remaining at number 2. Gonzaga, their only one loss of the season, falling to Sean Miller's club in Arizona. They're at number 3, while Duke, off that impressive win against Virginia, stays on the top line as another number 1 seed. So let's bring in our resident bracketologist, Mr. Joe Lunardi. And Joe, I mentioned that victory for Virginia over North Carolina. How big of a factor does that play for them staying at number 2?
I think it's the overall body of work, John, that's keeping Virginia at that number 2 overall spot. We kept the number 2 overall after the loss to Duke, even before they went in to Chapel Hill and took that victory over the Tar Heels. Both Kentucky and Virginia, at least in my view, had really a decent gap between themselves and the other number 1 seed contenders. So the Cavs just cemented that when they won on Monday night. Now, big weekend coming up, a lot of big games, particularly in the ACC. So who knows what next Monday will bring. But for the moment, Virginia's still number 2 overall and leading the East region. Let's
stay in the ACC. Let's focus in on this Duke team coming off that close win over Georgia Tech. It's not a typical Mike Krzyzewski type of year for the Cameron Indoor Stadium Dukies. How secure right now is the Blue Devil spot as the number 1 seed?
A short answer would be not secure at all. And I'm not even that convinced myself with Duke in this spot. But the rules do require us to have 4 number 1 seeds. And you can make an argument for Duke, Kansas, Arizona, and Wisconsin. And I could make a powerful argument right on the air here for all of those teams. But when I can't decide, particularly at this level of the bracket, I say, all right, who has the best wins? And I think not just the best wins, but the 2 best wins of any team in the country this year are Duke at Wisconsin and Duke at Virginia. No one else has won on the road against multiple number 1 seed candidates. In fact, nobody's even done it once. Duke has done it twice. And for me, that's the differentiator.
So again, the number 1 seeds for Joe Lunardi right now: Virginia, Kentucky, Gonzaga, and Duke. To see Joe's full field of 68, check out his latest bracketology right now on ESPN.com. I'm John Brickley.